Well, hey, we're going to just dive right into our Ultra discussion. I did tell all these guys my files are not as organized as I'd like them to be, so we might have to tiptoe around, dance around, vamp around a little bit while I get the images that you need up if I don't already have them open. But we'll kick things off. Actually, since she's our special co-host guest this time, Lou, I would love to hear a little bit about some Ultraman stuff that you have, the connection that you have with that franchise, if you have one. And we'll love to hear what you love about the Ultra franchise.
So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just started seeing all of the kaiju and just started falling in love one after another. Like Peter was saying earlier, just sometimes having those shows on constantly in the background while working it is so nice to hear. The noises are great. I just love it. So yeah, I started out as a Universal Monsters fan, and I started a little clothing line called Monster Lou. I've been doing that for 15, maybe longer years. So it's like fun everyday women's wear, and I like to do what I can to put a little spin of a monster thing on it, or embroidery, or a patch, or iron on, or something fun. So once I got into all the Japanese stuff, I haven't really stopped. It's just like this never-ending downward spiral, but it goes up sometimes. So yeah, I'm just a huge fan of it. But one thing that I do love, I have a couple things to show you guys, and I wanted to do something slightly different than showing off some Sofubi, and not to ruin your suspension of disbelief, but this book called Ultra the Back is one of my absolute favorites for two reasons. One of them is because once you learn how to make clothes and you see how things get put together, you can't unsee it. It's like this really strange thing. It's like this puzzle that breaks down. So unfortunately and fortunately, you can always see a zipper sometimes. Yeah. So I love so much that this book is about that, but it's by Minoru Kawasaki. It came out in 2008, and I think he's a director.
Yeah, that's the guy that did. He did a ton of stuff.
Yeah, he does like comedy tokusatsu films and stuff. So this book is really great. I picked up 2 copies on Mandarake because sometimes I do that. So I'm not a book bender, and this is in Japanese, so you have to Google Translate, and I can't stand the idea of cracking this here. So
yeah.
Anyway, what I'd like to show you real fast through this. It's just it's slightly a picture book, but he has a lot of really great descriptions in here and really great photos of the front and the back. These standstill photos are really great, and John, I really appreciate your love for books, because when you see this stuff in action and the films and stuff, we're so drawn to it. So to have these still images and just about anything, it makes you drool. It's if you really love this, it's gorgeous. So so if Peter's still watching, here's the Gango. I hope you guys can see that, but it's got his slippers on, and
right.
Yeah. So I just really love this because you can start to see how a lot of these costumes and suits and things were made. And then a lot of the book also, Ultra 7.
Yes!
Yeah. That again, Etta Leslie. It tells you learn so much in this book. I don't want to give a lot away. I grabbed 2 copies of Mandarake. They were about $12-15 US dollars. So it's just really great because they really tell you how much they reused a lot of pieces in these for other monsters and stuff, and that's really fun once you start getting those facts and stuff, and all of these little surprises you start to learn about these shows while watching the show was really fun to just know that. Like, oh, that's cool, I know this now. The other thing I love about this book is that he talks about watching the shows as a kid, and a lot of the older generation would point and say, "Oh, you can see the zipper. That's goofy," and and give it the wave. But he didn't really have much to argue about because he was a kid. So, but later in life realized, well, he relates it to the Japanese wooden puppets, Banraku, and that was entertaining to so many people. But you can see the person holding the puppet. So I love that he put those two together. Well, this is our way of, you can still see the person or the zipper, but I thought that was really a lovely way to see the back of the zipper, except the zipper.
What a great explanation. That's actually really profound. That I love that. And I'm going to use that because that's a lot of people ask me, it's so fake looking. It's like, well, actually.
I really loved that. I thought that was a really excellent way to like, hey, this is what we do and we love it.
Fantastic.
Who are we possessed by?
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to show was a clothing label called Granif, and they are a Japanese label, and they made this fancy Baltan button-up shirt I'm wearing now. Yeah. So I'm a fashion fan, and I knew about Granif. They do mainly t-shirts, but they get a ton of licensing for other shows and whatever. But they got a hold of the Ultra Q and Ultraman stuff, and I happened to be actually a lot of this collection came out at the end of 2018, and I happened to be in Japan in 2019 and walked into a Granif. I didn't really know about this collection, and they had this shirt and some other pieces, and the kids collection. I was just like, is this an adult size? And I mean, I had them on. I had the guy working there trying to call other locations to see if we could find them all, and it was, oh yeah, I was on it. Pieces down. So I like to think because they're Japanese, the collection is gorgeous. It's not just t-shirts. It's Japanese clothing. To me is really, really beautiful. Even the everyday wear stuff, it's just fun. And that's a huge inspiration for me to design and make clothes is I'm very inspired by the Japanese streetwear style and monsters. So that's how Monster World became about. But
Awesome.
so I'm a big vintage fan too. So I love 50s and I love the 60s style. So anyway, we whipped up a little video, and unfortunately, the only way to show off clothes is to wear them. So I did model them, but I wanted to set the scene to put you guys maybe in a 60s department store. So let's see how well I did. Kyle, if you want to play that.
Roll that beautiful footage.
Fantastic.
Oh my God, I love it.
I think this, as much as I love the monsters, this is actually one of my favorite features.
Oh, me too.
So cool. It's a cool idea.
I feel like the 70s. Genius.
Totally.
I
Early
mean,
70s. This is like the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
No.
Oh my God.
Beautifully
I
done.
hope Keith is watching because he's getting a lot of this.
Me too.
Wow. Wow. Genius.
Who needs a purse? I mean, you've got the accessories to go with it.
Oh, that's genius.
Oh my God.
Oh, my God.
It's a fleece wound.
Oh,
How
yeah,
brilliant.
perfect.
This just makes me smile. Oh, hell yeah. Oh my God.
a story about that pigment dress for a little bit later.
Genius. Fantastic.
Why can't they make fun clothes like this for men?
I know.
No
that
fair.
is so cool. Okay.
Yeah. I was nervous there for a minute. Okay, this is a kid show.
Oh, that is genius.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Bravo.
Three things, David. I love Who Needs a Purse? I had all the accessories. That was a great line. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Jeez,
The
that was
other thing.
fantastic.
The other thing is, Grant, besides the dresses, which anybody could really wear, they're very like straight. Those shirts, the sweatshirts, if you go to their website, you'll see just man, woman wearing both styles. So they make it as unisex as possible. So,
oh my God,
yeah.
I want one.
Yeah.
There's,
each?
if you don't mind, Lou, I'll just say if people are out there and dudes are out there and they all also would like fashionable dude, I'm not wearing Ultraman stuff, but fashionable dude items in the Ultraman vein, there's a line called Man of Ultra that is I mean, it's not nerdy stuff. It's like
it's very
deep cut nerdy stuff, you know, but you could wear it to a salaryman position.
They're just really great designs. I mean, they've done tons of different stuff, but I had to get every piece. There's still a few I don't have, but I've been collecting those for 2 years now. And that last shirt wasn't actually supposed to go with the video. It just ended it so well that we just kept it out. But that's by Drunkers, those goofballs.
Oh man,
Drunkers, yeah. So
I have smile. I can't stop smiling.
I have one more piece, but I forgot this one. But this was this is like a coat. It's really long and it's got this embroidered pigment there. Wow. And yeah, it's just long and just really like nice, like clean, classy piece. Yeah. I actually wore it to New York. I got to go to New York Fashion Week in February 2020, and I rolled up wearing that because I thought it was the greatest thing. Nobody else had it.
Yeah, set it off.
Yeah.
You need to get Harry Styles to model some of your clothes. He's into that sort of like androgynous sort of thing. And if I didn't gain all this COVID weight, I'd model some stuff for you too, man. I'll tell you what.
So I hope you guys like that. Yeah, I just wanted to do something slightly different besides talk about Super B for now.
I'm impressed as hell.
Yeah. There was a commercial growing up, fashion commercial back in the day. I'm just going to sing it a little bit. I don't know, David, I don't know if you remember it, but when Ultraman would be on and go to a commercial, take the wheel of your automobile and swing on down to Ideal. I mean, just has that 70s vibe.
That's great.
I remember that.
So did I put you into the 60s department store?
Yes.
Good.
You nailed it. You absolutely, for being so young and not being a part of that world, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And I know Keith is watching, and Keith said my volume is low. Oh well.
I just fixed that.
Okay.
Your volume is now better.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lou, for that segment. Awesome. Leslie, that puts you in the hot seat for talking about your Ultra connection. I do sort of know what you're going to talk about, but let's just spill it all out, brother.
Well, my first connection or intro into the Ultra universe is really with Ultra 7. And you've heard David and John talk about how they have the nostalgia factor. They grew up on Ultraman. I'm the exact opposite. I grew up on Ultra 7. Ultra 7 came out, I want to say, when I was in high school, around 28 years ago. Damn, I'm old. I'm so old. It would come on before Bugs Bunny and cartoons on the TV. I think TNT. And it would come on at 6 o'clock in the morning. That was back during the time where I didn't want to get up anytime before 7. But I happened to wake up one morning and I saw this show. And I happened to recognize a few of the actors. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that guy from a Godzilla movie. And then hearing, sound effects and certain monsters' roars, that really got me into it. Because of me being a Godzilla fan, a Showa fan in particular, that what got me into Ultra 7. And then as I got older, And then coming across, great friends like David, John, and of course Kyle, and they were going gaga over Ultraman, more so David and John. So I was like, you know what? Let me give Ultraman a try, because I'm a guy, self-admittedly, I really go outside my comfort zone. But I did get my hands on a DVD set of Ultraman, and it's on Blu-ray from Mill Creek. So, and it's available right now. So please get your hands on it. Definitely. And I enjoyed the show. I haven't gotten through the whole show. I've gotten through all of Ultra 7, but I haven't gotten through all of Ultraman. And I think the shows are amazing. The reason why I favor Ultra 7 over Ultraman, because I kind of like the darker tone that Ultra 7 takes. And admittedly, morbidly, I actually like how more brutal Ultra 7 is when it comes to taking out monsters. Where
he does not play around, does he?
He don't play around. So between him slicing the throats of monsters, decapitating monsters, taking the appendages off of monsters and beating them over the head with it, I just like more so the brutal nature of Ultra 7. I'm sorry. I guess that's the villainous Godzilla fan in me. I love Godzilla more so as a villain. So that's why I kind of gravitate towards Ultra 7. But you still have to honor the Ultra Warrior that came before that, Ultraman, as well as Ultra Q, because that was the real show that started this Ultra craze.
That's right.
Thanks to Kyle for that. Right. So before this episode came about, I started watching some of these episodes of the later Ultraman behind 7. A little bit of Jack, a little bit of Ace, a little bit of Leo, whatever. So it's an awesome series to go into, and it's worth noting that 25 years this year marks the anniversary of Ultraman Tiga. But I have to say, I love Ultra 7. I love Ultraman. I love Ultra Q. But I think the one Ultra Warrior that has the best theme song is Leo. I don't know what they're saying, but it's like Leo, Leo. Oh my God, that song is like fire. I will put that on my phone and listen to it and drive around the road. I'm like, Leo. It is awesome. But yes, that was my introduction into Ultraman with Ultra 7. Love Ultra 7, love Ultraman, love Ultra Q, love them all. So if you're not got into the series, I recommend starting with Ultra Q, then Ultraman, obviously, and Ultra 7. Then maybe you try and get into the rest of them. But give it a try, because sometimes we get tired, we get Godzilla fatigue, Gamma fatigue, and we get tired of that sometimes, because sometimes it can be overbearing. So if you want to take a break from Godzilla and Gamma and still want your tokusatsu fix, come on over to the Ultra side of things. I think you'll find what you're looking for. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it over to the biggest Ultraman fan that I know, besides my great friend John Ruffin, the one and the only David Eb. Dopko. Go ahead, David.
Wow. I'm still smiling from Lou's piece there. That was just so incredible. And I loved it. And I had no idea that was coming. I didn't even know you were going to do that. But
I kept it from you guys.
Let me take a sip from my Kaiju Sakaba Dodongo beer mug. Hold on.
Oh, man, I didn't.
And now I'm going to sing a little too. In a super jet, he comes from a billion miles away, from a distant planet clan. Comes our hero, Ultraman.
I'll be your backup.
Okay, now I had to do that because that's what I would look forward to running home from school and watching in front of the TV every single day. From like second or third grade. I can't really remember the exact year, but yeah, I mentioned it before. I've watched Ultraman from when I was a little kid, and I actually saw the original Ultraman series before I saw many of the Godzilla movies, which is pretty interesting. So, and I noticed the crossover right away. Subaraya had reused the same suits and the same sound effects. And, of course, I've said this before, the Science Patrol phone is the same voice as King Ghidorah, which is kind of cool. Keying off on what you guys had said before, it's like they do reuse the suits. The Baragon suit got a lot of use in the Ultra series, Ultra Q and Ultraman. It's interesting to see how they did recycle the suits. Bemlar, became Gyango, right? Yeah. Red King became Abaros. Gamora became Zagreus. Right? There's so many. I mean, I could go on and on and on, and maybe we'll do this in our group when we have more time. But it's so hard to come at an angle for my love for Ultraman because it's so strong, and there's such a nostalgia to it. And But what I'm going to do, Kyle, hopefully you do have these images.
I hope so too.
First of all, going to Japan with you for Hail to the King to the Ultraman Festival in Ikebukuro was one of the things that was like one of the coolest things I've ever done. And if you have those, I think it says Ultraman in Japan. That was the heading that I used for that. And we could just put those on if you find them. If not, I'll just talk about them.
I got them right here.
Cool. It was just so great to actually see these incredible props from the actual TV series, and just be there in person, And I didn't even expect to see that because we had initially gone just for the Hail to the King Godzilla's 60th anniversary. So seeing the Ultraman stuff. Oh no, that's actually the Tsuburaya Museum. But yeah, we can just go there. That's fine. We'll just roll with it. When we went to Japan in 2019, Kyle and I got to go to, that's Ultraman Street. Okay, let's see. Anyway, these are just going to be images flashing by of things that I saw Ultraman related in Japan. And that's Ultraman Street that you can walk down. It's kind of on the way to Toho Studios if you want to go around the long way. But anyway, being in Japan, yes, the Kyle way. Just seeing Ultraman and how popular Ultraman is in Japan was just really, really incredible. And yeah, this was the road from the train station to the Tsuburaya Museum. They had all of these statues of Ultra monsters all the way down the whole length of the street on either side. And that's the actual train station too. There's a little dude at the Ultraman.
Look
Ultraman
at that, Jack.
He was
that was in 2014, right?
Yes, that was in 2014. Correct.
Yeah.
And,
I would rock that.
Anyway, just being there and seeing Ultraman in his homeland, and that's just a little setup, and happy children buying little super deformed finger puppets of ultra figures, and anyway, that was just great. Oh, there's Kyle with I think that's Gabara, right?
Yeah,
I think that's Gabara, yeah. But yeah, it's really, really difficult to pick one aspect of this, but Ultraman in Japan was one. And then we did get to go to Japan again in 2015. And we did something really cool. We celebrated my 50th birthday at Kaiju Sakaba in Osaka, which, I mean, that one for a young Ultraman, a guy who's loved Ultraman from when he was a kid, celebrating a milestone birthday in an Ultraman themed restaurant. It doesn't get any better than that. That's my Kanagan cake. How cool is that? I got
more of the Ultraman restaurant coming up soon, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is a figure that I got from that particular experience. Kanagan was actually the manager of the Osaka branch of Kaiju Sakaba, and there he is with his little apron on, which is really cool. I think all of us got one of these, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle. Almost all of us got.
All right, no more talk about Kaiju Sakaba. That's you stepping on my toes.
Oh, I didn't know I had to limit what I was going to say. Okay, sorry. All right.
I got a whole presentation about Kaiju Sakaba coming up at the end of this whole thing.
Okay, well, sorry about that. I will not talk about Kaiju Sakaba anymore. Let's see.
You want to go
I
back
guess
to the other ones? The other photos?
Let's just. I don't even know where we're at now. Why don't we just kind of wrap it up, because I know we're kind of sort of going over time a little bit, but just some cool stuff. This is actually, where did it go here? A really cool piece. This is one of my Grail pieces. M1 Fuji.
Yes.
And yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought. So why don't we just? I'm going to just move on to John Ruffin, and we'll just go from there. So John, take it away.
Oh, wow, it's always awesome to hear David's discussions about Ultraman, because it resonates so deeply with me. I have a few. I'm just going to try to be quick as well. Kyle, I have a few photos that I've included that kind of just go along with what I wanted to start with. So similarly to David, I mean, I grew up, I don't know, first, second kindergarten, first, second, third grade watching Ultraman. And it started all I knew Ultraman was in black and white. I didn't see Ultraman until 1984 in color. And so it was black and white television up to about 19, I don't know, it might have been 76, 77 when it actually seemed to go off TV. But like David said, Ultraman was 5 days a week. Godzilla was maybe once a month. If you it wasn't, Godzilla wasn't on Saturdays every week. It was, so you just hope. So I would go through the TV guide, and this is an actual example of, this is one of the TV guides I grew up with, and it has just a typical lineup of shows during the afternoon. Batman, Speed Racer, and there's Ultraman on Channel 17, and Marine Boy, Spider-Man. So it was a great lineup. But the person who introduced Ultraman to me was famous guy here in Philadelphia, Bill Willie Weber. And I think is the next one. This is someone's autograph of him, but you can see he's beside him is Spider-Man, the old 60s cartoon, and there's Ultraman. And, before you would, maybe go to a commercial break or introduce Ultraman, he would talk about, zipping up, pulling up the zipper and getting the Ultraman, suit on and going into battle. And along with Ultraman, there were other shows, Space Giants, Johnny Sacco and his flying robot, Speed Racer, Astro Boy, Marine Boy. And these shows were so influential in my life in the introduction to Japanese culture. And particularly Ultraman really did teach me about good and evil. So it had a very deep impression on me, especially, certain episodes. And even now when I look back, it has so much more meaning to me now that I would have never imagined many years ago. Few memories just as the years went by of my relationship with Ultraman, which runs deep. Might be another photo in there. It was in 2015. I had the privilege, along with a host of other Godzilla and Ultraman fans, of having a meal and meeting Ben Furuya, who was Ultraman. And that was just like unbelievable encounter and wonderful time had by all that were there. And now a really special experience I had, Ed Holland of Monster Attack Team introduced me on one of my trips to Japan to the great Masami Yamada-san, who we had dinner, and then he had it might be the next slide, Carl. He had now this is based, this head he had put together based on the original that I think he had just come from the shop and had it with him, and of Gamora. I mean, it's like, this is incredible. This is like a piece of Ultraman. And what's awesome about Yamada-san is he is a Godzilla and Ultraman historian, and he's written many books. And this is one of his books, Ultraman Best Book. And on the back, there's Gamora. So it was an honor to meet him and to know such a Ultraman historian. And I think I may have one more photo in there, and this was a gift he gave me of a collage of Ultraman. I think some of these photos are from his books that he composed. And lastly, of my Ultraman memories, it was nothing better than have an opportunity to go to Ultraman Festival in Ikebukuro. And I didn't realize it was going on and stumbled upon it. And one of my fellow students who was with me, they didn't have any problem let me, go in and enjoy myself. Oh man, that was just tremendous to be able to walk through all 40 episodes of Ultraman and read, see the various the kaiju and see some of Eiji Tsuburaya's journal, diary, and especially see Hayata's suit and the Beta capsule. It was amazing. And Arashi's gun, but it's so many great memories and so many great collectibles over the years that I've come upon it. I mean, Ultraman will always be with me. My friend Eric was in the chat. He'll tell you I have a difficulty between. I have to kind of choose one I'm going to collect because it's overwhelming. I don't have enough room just for the Ultraman collectibles that I have that I've gotten over the years. So it's like Godzilla, everything, but Ultraman is just like always in the back of my head. Kyle, back to you.
Fantastic, John. You know, part of your segment reminded me about something that David didn't get to talk about, which was I have a folder here of you meeting your Ultra Heroes. If you wanted to dive into that real quick, Mr. Dopko.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was one of the things that I kind of forgot that I had it over there. Yeah, I mean, meeting my Ultra Heroes was just like, again, like something that I never thought I'd get to do.
Awesome.
You can just see the pure joy on my face. I mean, meeting Hiroko Sakurai, aka Akio Fuji. I mean, she was as delightful as you could possibly imagine. You know, her English wasn't that great, and of course my Japanese isn't that great, but it did not matter. I think she totally understood that I was really stoked to actually meet her finally after all those years. And yep, and there's me with Ultraman himself, Mr. Bin. I can never pronounce his last name.
I know.
Fuyura. Anyway, there's Bin and I he's showing me how to do the actual Ultraman pose.
He's
which
excellent
was really
at
great.
giving tutorials at that. Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And that was at G-Fest, probably 2018 or so. Yeah, and then this is Hiroko Sakurai when she was presented with the Skyscraper Award at G-Fest, and she, you know, probably had no idea what it was, but she was completely humble and stoked that she got it. It was just, you know, you can see how happy she is to be there, and so willing and happy she was to talk about her experiences making, you know, Ultra Q and Ultraman. And there's just Ben sitting in the audience checking out with his stylish pink shirt on.
Ben is probably like the coolest dude I've ever met from Japan. Like, not just the coolest celebrity. Like, he's like takes it to heart. Like, he's cool.
Yeah.
I think Hiroko Sakurai agrees with you.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I'm dying to interview her, by the way. She's like way up top of my list of people I'd like to interview before. I cannot.
Actually, she is going to be involved in the Ultraman event that's happening right after the show. I think she's going to be giving a little chat too. And yeah, there she is. I think that's her phone case or something. Someone gave her a little Ultraman phone case or whatever. That's
awesome.
But she was delightful. She was absolutely delightful. Yep, and there's again, just can't believe how happy I was to meet her finally, and it totally comes through in these photos without being creepy about it. Hopefully,
definitely not creepy, man. Come on.
But you know, I would love to meet Hayata as well, and the rest of the cast. I know Ito doesn't really travel that much anymore. The actor who plays Ito, I can't recall his name. Ide. Yes, Ide. And you know, and Arashi, he doesn't come around that much either. But it would be great to see all of the remaining living cast members together in one place. You know, one more time. I think that would be really sweet, and a lot of fans would love that. But yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing those. That I forgot to mention.
Absolutely, dude. I did not want to not have those come across the show. So that brings me to me. I am an Ultra fan of new, I would say. I started watching Ultraman. The original, I guess my origin story is that back in the 2000, I went to San Francisco to meet with Bob Johnson and August Rigoni to talk about being the webmaster for Henshin Online. And while I was there, I was hanging out with August, and he's like, "You've never seen Ultra Q or Ultraman or anything?" And so he showed me like several key episodes. There was the Gomez episode from Ultra Q, the Dada episode from Ultraman, you know, and that was my introduction to this entire series. I had never even heard about it before. And so I was really glad that I was introduced to it, but I let it sit. I let it simmer on the back burner for a long, long time. And it wasn't until I think probably when I started hanging out with people who liked Ultraman more, like David, and it was like, I really need to get off my butt and watch this show. So I did finish it. I loved it. I've watched it several times. The first couple of series I've seen a few times. And I'm so incredibly excited about what's happening for Ultraman these days. If you are unaware, if you're a fan out there of, that hasn't been around for a while, you didn't know about this, for decades, essentially, the Ultraman license was in this really weird, terrible, nebulous state where Subaraya Productions, the company that controls Ultraman, didn't feel like or didn't think they had the actual permission to use to push Ultraman outside of Asia, and that's why a lot of people don't know who Ultraman here is in the States. But basically, they won a lawsuit a few years ago, and when they won that lawsuit, it emboldened them, and they said, "This is our time," and we're finally, like in the interview with Charlie, I said we were at this 2018 licensing expo. Tsuburaya was there for the first time because it was the first time they were able to actually promote Ultraman outside of Asia. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, and not what I'm supposed to be talking about at all, which I will get to right now. And that is a brief chat about Kaiju Sakaba. Now, hands up here in the group, who's been to Kaiju Sakaba? I know Dave has, John has, Lou has, yeah. Leslie, we'll get you there someday, man.
Get you there. Yes.
We will get you there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's see if I can get this going. Okay, so Kaiju Sakaba, we basically have a little presentation here that I'm going to breeze through. If you're unfamiliar with the way this came about, right around the time that I was looking at going to Japan to film the 60th anniversary documentary, Hail to the King, 60 Years of Destruction, I was alerted to this brand new experience happening in Japan. And I'm just going to go ahead and skip it to the first slide because this is taking forever. Kaiju Sakaba was announced very quietly. They had a web page up. And I'm actually not going to read this off, but this is a web page announcement from Alien Bolton, who is the manager of Kaiju Sakaba. And this is a terrible translation. We'll just skip right past that. In March 2014, Kaiju Sakaba opened in Kawasaki, which is, if you're unfamiliar with that, that is sort of near Tokyo. It is near Tokyo in sort of like a extended city kind of thing. So that is Japan. That red dot is Tokyo. If you look at where Tokyo is, Kawasaki is right down south in the bay. So it's really not very far. In fact, if you're going to take a train from Tokyo Station to the Kawasaki location, it only takes about 24 to 30 minutes. It's pretty convenient. And let's see here. Get back to my presentation here. So inside of each Kaiju Sakaba, they are decorated to the nines. Every single inch of this place is Disney style decorated with beautiful Ultra Kaiju stuff. And I've said this so many times before, I kind of forgot to put it in here. This is a place for Ultra Kaiju to drink. This is not a place for heroes. This is not a place for the Science Patrol to hang out. This is a place for Ultra Kaiju to sit down, have a beer, and commiserate and bitch about the Ultramen. And so I absolutely love that that's the tact they took with it. They went not with the heroes, they went with the bad guys. So this is the kind of stuff you can see there. There's too much to even share, really. Their food is incredibly designed sometimes. You definitely have to talk about the twin tail, which is 2 shrimp that have been tempura'd together, which is this guy right here in the center. This coiled sausage down here is Nars from Ultra 7. It's really quite crazy. So you got decor, food, and of course there is a shop in every store, in every location. So the shop has plenty of stuff to buy. I did consider actually gathering all of my Ultra Kaiju Sakaba merchandise and having it on hand to display, but I'll just move along. In 2015, of course, Kaiju Sakaba closed. Now, the reason that happened is because pop-ups in Japan, they go for a year lease, and it was a pop-up store, pop-up restaurant event. And so they closed in 2015, but almost immediately afterwards, Bolton re-announced the opening or the reopening of Kaiju Sakaba on April 15th. So people in Tokyo didn't have to wait too long to actually get to their Kaiju Sakaba experience. Now, I'm just going to skip past this too because there's no reason to watch video. They also announced around that same time that a second location would be opening with a different manager, and that manager is Kanegon, who, as David mentioned, manages the Osaka branch, Ganso Kaiju Sakaba, that opened on April 25th. Same situation. It was a limited event. It's kind of pop up. So Osaka is 2.5 to 3 hours from via bullet train from Tokyo, and of course, their decor is amazing. I don't have the time to play a slideshow of my photos from when we were there in 2015. I do want to say that this is the one that I am most psyched that we were able to go to, because number one, it's not around anymore, and number two, while the Kaiju Sakaba in Shimbashi that we'll talk about in a second and the one in Kawasaki, they're sort of similarly-ish themed from a certain show perspective. This Osaka branch was really leaning hard into the Ultra Q stuff. And you can't really see it in these tiny photos, but yeah, so many pieces on the wall looked like vintage 50s Showa era stuff with kaiju involved. So they also have crazy food there. I mean, really, you just can't get away from it. They have all sorts of awesome stuff. And the one I really needed to highlight was the Pigmon Yakisoba. It's unfortunately didn't treat me well the next day. But there's a shop too, of course. So and the shop is where the big difference between the shop, actually, this is what I want to say. The big difference between the Osaka shop and the shop from Kawasaki is the Kawasaki shop all had new stuff, plates, mugs, all that stuff. But the Osaka branch, you can see up in this top corner, actually had sofubi for sale. And they weren't vintage soft vinyl pieces, but they were like M1 and Marusan pieces. And as David showed off, I did also pick up Kanegon in his awesome apron. And actually, let me undo this one for a second. Oh man, I'll have to get back to that. But yeah, Kanegon, they released this when we were over there, so we had this opportunity to get this guy brand new. But then, like a few months later, after we got back, and I was still obsessed with Kaiju Sakaba, they had another few monsters that came out, and so I got this killer, beautifully blue Gomez with the Kaiju Sakaba apron. Fantastic. They had at least 3 different kaiju with the apron on. But I love all the stuff that came out of that one. Anyway, back to my presentation. Okay, the Osaka branch. Where is this location? Well, it was in I think it was in Namba town, but basically it doesn't matter because it permanently closed in April 2016, which is a shame because honestly, I really do believe that this was sort of like my favorite of the 3. But it didn't come back. I'll live. In addition to that, there was a brand new announcement in 2017. Kaiju Sakaba announced a new location in Shimbashi. Brand new location, brand new decor, brand new food. You can see that the twin tail has been turned into a ebi katsu sandwich on the top right there. And of course, they have a shop as well. Tons of stuff to get at these places. I'm a huge fan of all of these locations. Shimbashi is located in Tokyo, and it's on the Yamanote Loop.
That's the one
you can see it here. And yeah, that's pretty much most of what I have to talk about for Kaiju Sakaba. Every single time I go back to Japan, I go to Kaiju Sakaba. So I go there. I went in 2014 for the documentary, and I thought, oh my God, we got to experience this and it's going to go away. And of course, Kawasaki's back. They opened Shimbashi, so I've been to Shimbashi. I will never, ever want to trade away the memories that came from the Osaka experience for your birthday, David. That was just magical and so much fun.
That was incredible.
And I've even been there with my wife. Lady Kyle and I went in 2016. That's a picture of her in the corner next to that. I think it's an X Plus Bolton figure. They've got all sorts of crazy stuff at Kaiju Sakaba, and it is absolutely worth checking out if you are interested in going to Japan as a Kaiju fan. There you have it. Kaiju Sakaba, everybody.
Yes.